Isaac and Zack Code Jam number 5. Isaac and I are not friends this week because we, unfortunately, I'm a Clemson alum and Isaac is a Ohio State alum.
That's right. Go Bucks.
We just got paired up to fight each other, so we won't be friends again until after the holidays. But we'll still do Code Jams.
That's right.
So Isaac, last week, so you're sporting this really cool shirt.
And, so last week I was at NGBE, which is an Angular conference in Belgium, and I gave a talk there, which is called End-to-End Testing at half the cost. And I'm going to be giving a little reprise of it, I guess, with some focus on some live coding this time, which I did not do in my talk.
Well, that's what we do here.
Yep.
It would be a code jam without some code. Do you want to give like a little summary of what you presented at?
Sure. So let's see. Am I sharing my screen?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So this is a little excerpt from my talk here. So basically, I had the metaphor of a birdhouse said this birdhouse is our application, and we want to paint it to simulate testing. And so if we cover the whole birdhouse with paint, then we successfully stop bugs from getting into it. And in that case,
it's really funny, Isaac, because I saw your slides and now I'm understanding what the birdhouse.
Right. Yeah. I posted my slides and I thought these are going to be very confusing to people without hearing my explanation, because I don't have a lot of text on these slides, just a lot of pictures for me to talk over.
So wait, you mean code coverage? Is it just line count?
Yes, it's not just line count, but it's also making sure you don't let stuff get into your application. So end-to-end tests would be like this paint roller here, which can cover a lot of area with one swipe, but you can't get into small areas. On the other hand, unit tests are very specific and very you can be very precise with them. But it's kind of like, instead of a birdhouse, you took a picture of a birdhouse and then you put it into MS Paint, and then you use the pencil tool to click individual pixels, which is also not quite what you want. So let me skip ahead a bit. So I talked through some different ways you can analyze a testing method, and basically you end up with unit tests. If you write lots of unit tests, you can get the coverage high and use NX affected to increase the speed, even though you have a lot of tests. But the fidelity, so speed is pretty self-explanatory and coverage is self-explanatory. Precision means how you can test something that's only test the pieces you want to test and not accidentally test some other part of your application. Okay. For instance, unit tests are high precision because you can test just one function, whereas end-to-end tests are low precision because you like if you test something that's 3 screens into your application, and then something else, it's like 2 different end-to-end tests are both going to go through the login flow, and you're testing your login flow every single time, which is, it's duplicating work. So right. you want to have high precision. Then the bottom row here is fidelity, which is how much your tests actually mimic what a user actually does. And unit tests are inherently low fidelity. There's no way to change that, because unit tests are testing your code the way a computer tests your code. Whereas end-to-end tests are high fidelity because it's, you go through, it's doing exactly what a user would do. It's simulating clicks and typing and, looking for things on the screen.
Yeah.
So
well, let me ask you a quick question before you move on. So how would you define unit tests versus end-to-end tests here? Because that's one thing I see that's often hazy. Like sometimes there's integration tests that kind of weasel its way in between the two.
Yeah, integration tests, kind of fit in between the two. And I intentionally didn't directly address that, because that is hazy. Integration tests could be like a unit test with a little bit extra, or it could be almost an end-to-end test, and it could be anywhere in between.
So. Would a helpful way of thinking about this maybe to think of unit tests as like jest and end-to-end as Cypress.
Cypress. Yeah, that's the way I was thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Good to know.
Yeah. So I added on another type of test here called a component UI test, which is where you take a individual component, like a presentational component, and you run tests against it using Cypress. So basically, you have to have some way of rendering that component in isolation from the rest of your application. But then if you do that, you get high precision. And you can a few tricks you can do you can boost coverage by writing lots of tests, and you can increase speed by running NX affected. So then you have this, lots of good colors in the component UI test column here. But you get high fidelity because you're using Cypress tests. You can get high coverage by writing lots of tests, and you have high precision because you don't have to go through the whole login flow just to get to that component to test it. You can just test it right out of the box. So there's component UI tests, and so we've got a tool here that will let us write some component UI tests. And so this repository here is, we'll stop that. We can run NX dependency graph. So this is a little application here. Sorry, I gotta drag that over. I guess, here's the repository here if you want to, fork it and look at it. NX monorepo sample. I forked it from somebody I found online. Cool. And so it looks like this. It's got an application. You got two routes, a home route and a customer's route, and some shared components here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to write some component UI tests for a component that's found inside of this shared components library. So to do that, I've already done this, but you'd add ng-add narwhal storybook to add this plugin that I wrote a few months ago. And then once that's been added, you can see it's been added here because it's right there.
Cool.
Narwhal storybook. Now you can go to generate here.
And so what you're showing on screen, this is the VS Code Angular console plugin, right?
Yes.
Yes. This just got reworked not too long ago.
Right. So, about a month ago, maybe.
I really like the way it looks now and the way it works now.
Yeah, it looks great. This shows us, what the Angular JSON looks like, the different applications in here, and you can have different tasks you can run through here.
So by adding the storybook, we added some schematics now to our generate list, right?
Correct. Yep.
Cool.
So it's Narwhal storybook configuration and Narwhal storybook Cypress project. But nice. We can run Narwhal Angular storybook configuration, which under the hood it calls this one, but with some flags making it specific to Angular.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do that. And let me move panel right so it's not bugging me. Okay, and so we give it the library name, which is shared components.
I had no idea you could do that.
I'll move it to the right.
Yeah, I always have. I like my terminal underneath, but that's good to know.
Yeah, I like it underneath too, but Angular console does this annoying thing where it as you type, it'll keep popping up the terminal.
Right.
And when I'm in a small screen size like this, I don't want it to be covering up what I'm typing.
Gotcha. So it's just running dry runs so we can make sure it's working. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, so it's working. So I'm going to click run here. So it's I just checked all of these things, and I'll walk through what they actually did after I run it. Okay, so I can close that terminal, and I can go look at
24 files changed.
24 files changed. Woohoo! There's just 24 text files. 1.txt, 2.txt. I just like the numbers being high. Yeah. Okay. So we have this shared components library here, and let me just show you the original. Here's the info box component.
Okay.
So this was already here. My schematic didn't change this at all. So There's an info box component that has an icon and a message input. Mm-hmm. And what it generated was, well, it added a .storybook file at the top here, at the top of the library itself. And this has some configuration files to get Storybook to run. Storybook is a tool to render components in isolation from each other. And this is how it defines how to render those components. So this was automatically generated for me, this whole file. And I need to add some information to this imports here because InfoBox component uses this matte card element and a matte icon element. So those won't be rendered correctly if I don't update the imports here. So I need to add the matte card module.
So you're essentially just creating a Angular module here, an ng module, like kind of like you would if you were running some Jest tests or unit tests.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. But the neat thing is it mocked out this. It looked into this component and saw that it has two inputs and automatically generated for me two props here. Which
that's awesome.
I'll show you what that looks like. It also added a. Okay, let me move this back down to the bottom because it's kind of annoying.
Yeah. Can you?
There we go.
So just out of curiosity, if we go to the Angular console, can we find this now in the run list?
We should. Yeah, let's do that.
Cool.
Okay, so if we go, okay, so we can click this refresh button, and it shows up here. I don't know if this has been fixed or not. Let me see. Yeah, that works. Okay.
Okay. So that by clicking play there, you just ran the storybook?
I just ran that builder. Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I always go up to run.
Yeah, you can also do it that way. You can do it here and go to run, share component storybook here.
Yeah, and that has like autocomplete if you start typing there. So that makes it nice.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so let's look and see what the storybook looks like. So here is our InfoBox component. Let's give it an icon here of person.
So these are those properties that got automatically added, right?
That's right. And John. Okay, so now this person here isn't showing up correctly because I need to include the style, the material font that it needs, and we can do that by. Okay, I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to do git stash and check out the branch where this is actually working.
Okay,
and then I'll just copy the text and come back over here.
Cool.
Git checkout.
While you're doing that, pretty much what this component is, we've got like a card here. We're supposed to show an icon and the person's name, right? So. We're just trying to get that to work. Right now, it's not working because we don't have icons loaded into our module right now.
Correct.
So Isaac's going to grab a branch where we actually have those icons.
Okay, why is stash not working for me?
No local changes to save. I think you have to add them before you can stash them, right?
Okay. Stash pop. Let's try this git stash. There we go. Okay.
There you go.
Git checkout. All right. So let's look at this. So this is what I need. So there's a preview head HTML file which will add stuff to the head element of your storybook instance. So we'll check out master again, git stash pop. And here we'll add a new file, preview head.html.
Boom.
And now let's run storybook again.
Okay, so by adding the links into the preview head, at our storybook config level, we've essentially added the icons.
Added these fonts. So here's the font icon, and this is just the normal font.
Right. Material style font.
Yep. So let's see if this works now. Person. There it is.
There it is.
Zack.
Hey.
Loves Ohio State.
No.
There you go. So here it is. We've got a component. We've got a component that's rendered in isolation from the rest of our application.
Right.
Right.
So now cool. That seems like step one of a two-step process, though.
Right. It is. So the other thing that has been done here for us is if we look at the dependency graph.
Oh yeah.
It added a new application here, shared components end-to-end application that has Cypress tests in it that can run against the storybook stories that we just wrote.
Yeah, and that's really nice visual right there because you can see how isolated that E2E test is.
Like, right. So if we do affected, if we run affected on something and we only changed something up here, then these end-to-end tests don't need to run at all. They're because they're not affected by changes over here. But if we change the shared components themselves, then we obviously want to run these tests. So,
right.
Okay, so let's look at what that application looks like. So here it is, shared components end to end, and it automatically created.
So this was created by that schematic we ran, just the config.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
I can. Oh, it's not on here. That's fine. It was just a checkbox. There are one checkbox to create the Cypress app, and another checkbox to automatically create the spec file.
Awesome.
So so we've got this URL here, and
also auto-generated.
Also, everything in here is auto-generated. So I'm just going to move this down here, okay. And
so this is just telling Cypress to go to this URL, and then we're going to make sure.
We're going to go look at the info box component and the primary story, which in this case is here. So you can have more than one story per file here. So you could you could have second story or whatever, right. and then in the spec file you would target that by calling it second here.
Right.
And then here these query parameters let you specify what the input values should be for those knobs in the storybook setup. So we can do awesome. Icon equals person, knob message equals yeah, you can make it go.
So this is part of the knobs plugin for Storybook, right? So
well, yes, these query parameters will target the knob, change the values for the knobs in Storybook. Yeah.
Cool.
So you could this is by default, it just does a checking that the query that the selector for that component exists. But you can run whatever Cypress tests you want in here. Right. So we can do sci dot contains go bucks and check that text is being rendered the way we expect it to.
Just to clarify, that's for the Milwaukee Bucks, not for the Ohio State because we don't do that here.
Okay, so then here we can run this end to end. Let's see. Let me run it in watch mode. But okay. Go ahead.
I was going to ask if that's going to collide with the Storybook we're running now, or did we already stop that?
I stopped it, and
okay.
Yes, it probably would. So you'd have to change the port in your configuration if you want to run multiple side by side.
Gotcha. So one thing I've noticed when I'm able to use Cypress is I almost like running Cypress in watch mode to serving by itself, because it's like there's this instant feedback loop.
Right. Yeah. So this I launched the end-to-end task here, and at first it launched Storybook, and then it launched Cypress to point at that Storybook instance.
Awesome.
So that's pretty neat. So now I click on info box component. and
that's just such a good experience.
Yeah,
having that come up.
So there we go. So it's comes up, and we can change our tests, and we can say O H I O, and then this test is going to fail because it doesn't find that text.
Right. And it's going to do that weird thing where it takes a while first, which is actually that weird if you think about what's happening there.
Right.
So, okay, cool.
Okay, so that's component UI tests. I don't know if we have enough time, but we could try to do a route UI test.
Let's start it just so we can talk about it, because the cool thing about this one here is it's driven by inputs, and that's all we're testing here. There's no dependencies being injected aside from we have to import those card modules and the icon module.
Right. So the basic idea for route UI tests is that we've got existing end-to-end tests up here, and all of the end-to-end tests have to get run anytime any change is made anywhere in your application. Right. Which probably doesn't make sense, because some of these end-to-end tests are testing the home route, and some of them are testing the customer's route, and they don't need to be run every single time any change is made.
Something down the chain goes red, and now everything above it
ends up right. Right. I can show you the So here, if we change the home route, all the end-to-end tests have to run. It'd be nicer if we had something like this, where if you change the home route, just the end-to-end tests that are specific to that route are tested, and not the ones that are for the customer's route.
Okay, so the app one still exists and is still red, but that it's because we're taking tests out of that app one and putting it into the respective home
or customer's routes. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so the top level ones are still real end-to-end tests, but the ones that are pointing at just a route, they're not real end-to-end tests, because you're doing some mocking, and so you have to kind of change your definition of what end-to-end means.
Right.
But they give you some real benefits here in terms of speeding up your tests.
Right.
Okay, so let's see if we can do this. So we're going to do generate storybook configuration. So same thing again. So we're going to do feature home and get rid of that. No declarations array and ng module. Okay. So this, I had to do some finagling here. The schematic right now assumes that you've got one module here, and it's running into this. There's this home routing module here, and it's getting confused because it doesn't have a declarations array. So what I could do is I could just take this and put that into here.
Yeah. So now that was running on a dry run. So we just got feedback that it wouldn't work. We didn't actually try it.
Cool. Yep.
I like that about schematics.
Yeah. We'll just copy that. Go here and go like this. Should work.
Cool.
Delete this.
I never really liked the pattern of having a different module just for routing anyways.
Yeah, it feels kind of weird, but
it works. There we go.
Okay, so let's see if that will work for us now. Feature home. Check these boxes. Ooh. Okay, that's working now. All right, let's try running this. Okay, so that worked. And so we have this storybook configuration folder here. So all of these configuration files, they derive their, they inherit properties from a top level configuration file. So here's the global storybook configuration. So if you want to change things for everything, you can change them up here, and then they'll get imported in the further down ones.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got a home component stories here. And we're not even using that, so we can delete that. So this home UI module is going to be using things from the top level app module. So we need to basically copy over all the dependencies in the app module. We'll just take that all, I guess.
Cool.
And I think we need to missing imports. Okay. That we don't need that. Okay, we need to mock out the router module here.
Okay.
In this case, we're doing for root because we do that. And here we want to, this is a little bit confusing because there's a home component. Let's see, which is that. Does it have a router? No. Okay. So let's see. So we can just do path star, and we want it to go to the component home component. There we go. So whatever route we're at, we'll just send it to the home component because that's what we care about. And then we also need to add providers here. So provides. Which one is it? The plural or singular? Do you remember?
I think it's provide. Yeah, the singular. Providers is plural. Provide.
Okay, let's.
I want to say so. I could be wrong.
Let's see if this works.
Oh.
All right, so we have the feature home here, and now it has a storybook builder for it. And let's see if we set it up right. Oh, I'm probably going to need to add styles for material. And let's see, cannot find module, lib feature home module. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's looking for styles.scss in the app. Why is it doing that? Oh, okay. This. Oh, I had some path that was incorrect here. I have to click on this again. All right, we're getting close to the deadline here.
Race against time. Let's see.
Yeah,
but
so what I could just show you a screenshot of what it is working, if we want to do that. Oh, there we go.
Oh, sweet. Let's see if I was right about provides.
Yeah, although you can probably get. Oh, there we go.
Hey,
okay, so the same thing with the
right.
font icons, but we can pretend that works. But this is the home route here of our application,
right?
And we could run Cypress test against it. There's no knobs here because we don't have any inputs for a route level component,
right?
But you can collapse that if you want. But we can run end-to-end tests against this. And so if I went to the, oh, I don't want that. I want here, and I collapse this and go up to we can take all of the end-to-end tests here that are just about the home route, and we can take those and put them into the feature home end-to-end tests.
Awesome.
And just move them up here.
Right. It's really neat.
See. Login. So I don't need to do a login here because we only need to do that login for the end level test. So we can we can just do this.
And now we're getting more precise because
yeah, a little bit more precise. Yeah.
We could have easily failed this test because something with login wasn't working, and it would show up as, hey, there's something wrong with this component. Yep. Now we know, okay, the issue is actually with this component.
Yep. Let me see if we can run that test. This is not going to be in watch mode, so it'll appear and then disappear. But
did you stop the storybook?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So the same issue here with customers UI. So my code base here was not pristine when I started. So customers UI, source index. Before I did my talk, I renamed a bunch of things to get my dependency graph to have the names that I wanted to.
Gotcha.
And
biting you now.
I didn't worry too much about whether it was actually going to work. But now I need to care about that.
Boom.
Yay, compiled. That's good.
So now it's just going to go off and test.
Yeah, so now it's launching up Cypress here. And let's see if it actually
there goes.
Renders it. Oh, so now it's doing the whole app. This is, I clicked the wrong button.
Oops. Yeah, this is the app ETE.
Yep, these are the app
ETE. To see you can do that, but
I need to refresh this. That's the issue. There we go. Feature home ETE.
It is red. That's always reassuring. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's red. That's interesting.
I saw your Angular language service had crashed a couple times there. I wonder if it's something with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It seems to give me a lot of red sometimes.
Okay, so here it's started storybook, which is what we would expect.
Yep.
And now it's launching the feature home end-to-end tests.
Right. So when we were doing the app, we actually did it against the app running itself. When we do it for the specific module, we're doing it against Cypress.
Okay.
And we don't have Psy. Great.
Right. So this is it's not Psy that's the issue. I need to set up the Cypress testing library. Because that is not automatically set up for me. And so I need to set that up in the end-to-end test here. So if I take this, and so this is all expected setup stuff because anyone's going to have their own custom things.
Right.
So I just need to take this here, and I don't actually need the login, but I need that and to copy into my commands. Feature home, support commands. Now, find by text. It should be there. Let's see if we can run it and see.
Yeah.
That one. But so this is the idea. So you can set up route UI tests and distribute your tests across multiple projects. And in the end, if you get it to work, you can get something that looks like this. Where instead of running 106 seconds worth of end-to-end tests for everything every time there's a change, you can do if you just change something at the top level, it's 31 seconds. If you just change something in home, it's 58 seconds. If you just change it in the customer route, it's 66 seconds. And if you affect everything, it's still only 67 seconds because you can run it in parallel.
Right.
And
That's awesome.
So that's the benefit of splitting up route UI tests across multiple projects.
Right. Cool. And in larger projects, that's all going to accumulate much more.
That's an even bigger deal. Yep. Because this is just for 2 routes. If you had 5 routes, it would be theoretically a fifth of the time, assuming you have enough processors to do them all at once.
Right.
But in a CI system, you will have as many as you need to split across multiple jobs and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it ran, but it still got the same issue. All right. Well, we'll figure it out later. But actually, if you're looking at this, if you look at the route UI tests branch, that should work.
Cool.
Right. Route UI tests here.
Right.
That's all set up with the correct configuration.
Cool. Now, had you done a video on this for YouTube?
Yeah. There is also a video. I can show you that. No, not over there. Let's see. Let's do. Here we go. I want edit. I want view. It's linked here in this this Medium article.
Cool. Let's look to tweet that out so people can check out the video and stuff, because this is super cool.
Yep. So here's a walkthrough of me doing basically the component UI test version of this.
Cool. Sweet. Well, Isaac, thanks for showing us all this awesome stuff.
Sure. Yeah, you're welcome.
It's always it always gets a little bumpy, but that's what the Code Jam's about.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone for showing up and checking it out. Next week we're actually not going to be doing a Code Jam because we'll be on NG Houston talking about some form composition stuff. So looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yep.
So thanks everyone. See you next.
Bye.